Hi, welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so you can make the best decision for you and your family as to whether or not you want to spend your time and money watching a particular film. You can catch me on Instagram as Movie Review Mom, as well as join our Facebook group, which is also called Movie Review Mom, of course, where I've got lots of fun contests and polls and conversations going about all things movies. So thanks for spending a few minutes while we talk about this movie today, which is called Hereafter, not to be confused with the Matt Damon movie of the year 2010 that's also called Hereafter, but the words are smushed together, so it's spelled a little bit differently. This is a dark fantasy comedy that premieres on my mother's birthday, July 23rd, on video on demand. I don't see that it's going to theaters. So far, I've only been told from the studio that it's going straight to VOD. So that's the scoop, as far as I know. The movie is rated TV 14, and it's 121 minutes. Ooh, do the math on that one. How long is that? So let me first give you an overview in a nutshell, and I'll point out things I liked and didn't like. I'll offer tips for parents, and some teens might be interested in this. And I'll even give you some themes worth talking about with your kids if you watch it together, and some recommendations for other movies at the end. All right, so in a nutshell, first of all, thank you to Vertical Entertainment for giving me this press screening so that I could preview it to give you guys the heads up. I love that. Their synopsis of the movie describes it like this. A struggling actor, Michael, dies right after a bad breakup, awakening to a singles purgatory where he must find his soulmate in order to cross over to the other side. With limited time to find true love among other recently deceased single New Yorkers, Michael must navigate the new customs of a ghostly dating life, as if dating in New York alive wasn't already hard enough. When he meets the woman of his dreams who happens to be alive, Michael must figure out how to cheat the system to cross over with her. Dun, dun, dun. The film was written and directed by Harry Greenberger. He also produced the movie with Carmine Famigletti. I think I said that correctly. Anyway, here are some of the things that I really liked about the movie. First of all, it's an interesting, goofy premise for a story and an interesting perspective on what hell actually could be like, especially if you're single. Christina Ricci looks amazing. When is she going to start aging? I thought she just looked really beautiful, and they did something to her eyes that just made me want to keep staring into her eyes. I won't tell you what character she plays, but she does a really good job, I thought. If you're a fan, check out her most recent movie with Christopher Walken called Percy versus Goliath that she also just did in 2021. You get to enjoy beautiful New York City, and I love it when the NYC, the Big Apple, is one of the characters in movies. There's a great opening for a scene. I just thought it was really well done, even though it's actually really crude. When I saw Jackie Cruz, I totally thought that she was Cheryl Burke from Dancing with the Stars. I thought, oh, good for her. She's made it into movies, but it's actually not Cheryl Burke. But I think that they look kind of similar. Look at both of these pictures. Do you think they look kind of alike? Well, in the movie, she kind of looked like her and even sounded like her too. The movie features the new original song, Mysteries of Life, sung by Debbie Harry. There's some little gems of wisdom tucked into the script, and there are some very sweet dedications at the end of the film. So the protagonist in this movie, in this story, is Andy Karl, who's actually an Olivier Award-winning actor on TV and film. On TV, he's probably most known for his role in Law and Order Special Victims Unit back in 1999. That was kind of a long time ago. He's also been in Legally Blonde, the musical, which I've never seen. So I hadn't actually seen him in anything before. There were some moments where I thought, oh, he's got that spark, he's magical. And then there were some forced acting moments where I felt there were some missed opportunities, but overall, I thought he did a good job as the leading man, and I'd like to see more that he can do. There were some things that I didn't like about the movie. First of all, it started great. Like I mentioned, that opening scene was like, okay, wow, here we go. And then it quickly screeched to a halt. The movie is very slow moving. And I felt like there were some moments that, or some scenes that sort of dragged on and on a little longer than they should have. Certain moments that could have been magical if you had touched on it and then quickly left rather than lingering and overusing that moment. Without giving you any spoilers, that was just something that I noticed. Some of the acting moments are not good by several of the characters, I should say. And I thought that some of the casting was kind of odd choices. There were a lot of missed opportunities for funny visual gags of a dead man trying to navigate the mortal world, where you could tell he wants to punch someone, but he doesn't in real life because he'd really punched that person. And so there were some missed maybe CGI moments that could have really made it fun, where his hand goes through the person's head or something like that. And there really is only one moment where there's kind of a touching moment where he tries to grab somebody's hand. And that was it, rather than, utilizing that effect for the whole movie, which could have been really fun. So I was surprised that they didn't do more of that. There's some comedy, but some of it just doesn't really land. The rules of the afterlife and this whole world building scenario are kind of nonsensical. They don't really make sense. And even though it's about the afterlife, there's no mention of God or someone who's really in charge. It just sort of seems like it's all random. There's talk of, people being in charge of certain things, but not knowing who's making the ultimate choices. And so there were some missed opportunities that could have allowed for some playful moments as well. Maybe even saying that God was a she, and that's why she was requiring everybody to have a soulmate because she was really into romance. I don't know. I mean, there are so many things that could have been done to make the movie really, really fun. All right. So writer, director, next time you're working on a film, consult with me and I'll give you some good ideas if you thought those were good ideas. Anyway, there's this terrible on-screen kissing, a couple of scenes where I was like, really? All of this buildup led to that? And I was like, oh man, we need to practice kissing. And then there's a character named Honeybee. And I just thought, who names their child Honeybee? Because she was saying it wasn't a nickname, that that's actually her name. And that it's also super distracting because I just really wanted her to put on a bra in every scene that she was in, because that was sort of distracting as well. Let me give you some tips for parents. First of all, there is a lot of crude talk about sex and women. So women will want the romance part of this movie, but probably be a little offended by some of the conversations. There is some profanity, including a lot of F-bombs. You see female full frontal nudity in a locker room. I'm like, I don't have to see all of that. I mean, I'm even a woman and I don't even want to see all that. As well as a naked rear end of a guy who's overweight. And, luckily the camera didn't zoom in. I didn't want to get a really good look at all of that either. It really wasn't necessary. We could have understood just women in towels, and then, maybe the towel drops and the woman dropped her towel and is now naked. I just don't need to see all of that. I think it's so much more effective when you leave things to people's imagination. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. There's also lots of alcohol. For some reason, another random reason is that in the afterlife, they can't eat, but they can drink alcohol. So a lot of these dead people are just drunk. And again, maybe that would have been a funny line to talk about God being a woman and, requiring that they have to get their soulmate before they can move on, and how, she's an alcoholic or something like that. I don't know, just to explain why that rule. Anyway, there were some themes that were addressed well in the movie, such as love and connection. I loved that because they were trying to find their soulmate, they didn't have their physical body, so it couldn't be focused on physical relations and physical attraction so much, but really finding something deeper, that deeper connection that ultimately we all want. And soulmates, of course, eternity, meaning of life, friendship. And so whenever I watch movies, I write down the funny line and the interesting line so that you can get a real taste of the movie. And I have them all on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. So you can read them all there, but I'll share just a couple of them with you right now. So Michael, who's played by Andy Carl, is trying to navigate this world of after life, after death. And he's just like, trying to make sense of these nonsensical rules. And he says, is my mother in on this? And I just thought that was kind of funny. And then also he says, talking to another woman, he says, nice pajamas. Did you die in your sleep or are you just lazy? You know, because she's basically wearing pajamas. And then back to the subject of sex, Scarlett, who's played by Christina Ricci, she says, sex clouds the mind. And I was like, yes, thank you. It really does. When you're dating, it definitely clouds your mind and you want to really find the right person. So anyway, I really liked that element of the movie, and hopefully our young daters out there will learn a lesson and focus more on that connection than all the physical stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, the physical stuff's super important, but I'm just saying. All right. So ultimately, with the good things and the flaws, you want to know the movie review mom grade I'm giving this movie? Well, it needed a little bit more work. I'm giving it a C minus. And I always feel so badly giving a movie a bad grade like that. But really, my husband always reminds me when I tell him grades that I give movies, he's like, C is average. It's not terrible. But, you know, I was the A student. And so C seems bad. It had a lot good going for it. It just needed a little bit more work. All right. So another movie recommendation I have for you that I think is so much better, that I just love, and how it really encapsulates that connection, is an older movie called City of Angels with Meg Ryan and Nicolas Cage. There's just something really magical about it. It's got some weird stuff, afterlife rules and that kind of stuff. Nicolas Cage is an angel and Meg Ryan is a human and he falls in love with her. So they have that complication going on. But there are so many deep levels of life lessons that I really appreciated about that film, in addition to the romance and all of that kind of stuff. So check that one out. And by the way, I've got a coupon down below for a free 30-day trial on Amazon Prime, where you can watch some of these movies, as well as a coupon for Fandango, where you can save money off of your rentals if you like to use Fandango. All right, that's it for my review. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.